What's up, YouTube? So today we're going to be talking about water and hybrid maps in Age of Empires 4. Now, if you are like me, um, when I first started playing the game, I just downloaded the water maps as I tried to learn the game. If you are brand new to the game, I would recommend probably just downloading the water maps for now. But if you've been playing for a little while and you're trying to figure out like, hey, what am I supposed to be doing on these water maps? How do I do this efficiently? How do I get out my dock efficiently? And what is the right way to do this? Well, this video is the place for you. Let's talk about why you should learn how to play the water maps. Well, first of all, you can see right now in ranked, um, we have quite a few water maps. So there's water holes, there's ancient spires, and there's Boulder Bay, and there's also Oasis. You can't actually downvote all of them. Um, Now, Oasis doesn't work like the other water maps. You won't be going for the water the second the game starts, but you will be trying to chop through. Guys, I would highly recommend downvoting Oasis. I'll be keeping it downvoted forever. It's just a cheese map where all about cutting through the wood. But we're not here to talk about Oasis. So, Boulder Bay, Ancient Spires, and Water Holes are all on the in the ranked map pool. So you might need to know the water maps for the ranked map pool. And then in the team ranked map pool, there's also Mediterranean. And, it's actually called Baltic nowadays. And then there's Mongolian Heights and Nagari. You guys, there are water maps in the ranked map pool, and listen to this. I promise you, if you are in lower leagues, like I'm talking gold, low platinum, lower than that, like obviously if you're in silver or bronze, if you are in lower leagues and you learn how to do the early opening for water efficiently, and you learn how to get out on water and get military ships out as soon as you hit um, feudal age and take the water for yourself or for your team, you are going to be winning games basically for free. I'm not kidding. Like, you really will. Like, if you get this down, you will win games for free, because even at the diamond level, occasionally, there's like most of the time in diamonds you are going to have to fight over the water, and it's a more like competitive experience. But even sometimes in diamond, I loaded up the other day and played water holes, and my opponent didn't even try to get the water, and then I won the game, and they're raging in the chat about how broken Ottomans are. And like, bro, I'm literally fishing and getting absurd economy. It's got nothing to do with the civ I'm playing. But yeah, so we are going to be talking about how to play these water maps. So first of all, let's talk about which civs are best on the water maps. And that's going to be HRE, China, and Rus. As well as the English probably coming in third or fourth. But the reason for that, y'all, China has the imperial officials that can supervise their lumber camps, and that makes them return more wood. So China is actually, I think, at the highest level considered the very best civ on water maps, because the imperial official can always move to the next lumber camp, right? You can always be supervising your wood. Now the HRE are a very close second, because they can drop their Aachen Chapel on the wood line. They can inspire their villagers with prelates, but it's not quite as good as China, because eventually you chop so much wood that you're not in range of your Aachen Chapel anymore, and also prelates can only inspire so many villagers. So the longer the game goes, it gets better for China in like a China HRE matchup. But guys, this stuff only really matters at the highest level, so we're just gonna breeze through it real quick, and then we'll talk about how to play it. Rus would be another great civ on the water. Their Kremlin gives them huge boosted wood economy, so you just drop that on your wood line. And they can also spawn militia for food only, and use that to attack docks or attack the opponent's wood line. So it's really, really strong. And then English is another great civ on water maps. And guys, right now I'm talking about full water maps like Mediterranean or Nagari or Boulder Bay. And English is great because their ships are just 10% cheaper. They have an upgrade called Admiralty, which gives them extra range on their ships. It's really good. It can be hard to use properly, like, it takes good micro to really get the most out of that upgrade, but it's still a good upgrade even if you don't have the best micro. And yeah, so those are the best civs on water maps. Now, on hybrid maps, these are like, let's talk about what the hybrid maps are. These are the maps that are like really focused on land and water at the same time. On hybrid maps like such as water holes, ancient spires, there's more, Mongolian heights, you know, whatever else. There are a few more civs you can mix in as well. Ottomans and Delhi do really well on hybrid maps. English does really well on hybrid maps, HRE. I mean, Rus and China, you know, the same civs that are good on water maps, but also Mongols, Ottomans, and Delhi. Because you can, instead of going for the dock, you can go for super early aggression and try to destroy your opponent's dock and then take the water for yourself with your own dock. Guys, we're not going to be getting into all that today. This is a beginner's guide to water, but I just wanted to briefly touch on that. So, yeah, despite everything I just said, y'all, like I said, in lower leagues, you can just play whatever civ you want on the water. It's okay. Now, reasons that Malians and French just aren't quite as good on the water, you know, Malians, they need that pit mine right as the game starts, so that's a big investment of wood. Same with Mongols, they need their Uvu right when the game starts, big investment of wood. So, yeah, that takes away from the dock and the fishing ships and that kind of stuff, obviously. So, all right, let's get into talking about how you want to play on the water. So, when I first started playing water maps, I just played English for the most part. Now I play a lot of Rus. Sometimes I play HRE. But what you're gonna want to do, guys, and this is, you know, it'll seem like a no-brainer in retrospect, but if you're gonna go onto the water at the beginning of the game, you need to go onto the wood at the beginning of the game so that you have enough wood for your dock, for your fishing ships, and all that kind of things. So at the beginning of the game, I'm gonna queue our villagers. I'm gonna put 5 villagers on a straggler tree. And some civs will go straight for a lumber camp, but yeah, you're going to need to watch the pros and see exactly what they're doing if you're going to get that worried about it. Most of the time, I'll just go on the straggler tree, and then eventually I'll get a lumber camp. So send 5 vills onto the straggler tree. We're going to take our scout with the villager and move out to put a dock immediately, as soon as the game starts. Now, the reason you want to take your scout with the villager is you need to scout where the closest deep sea fish is for your villager to build the dock next to. So I end up scouting that this deep sea fish is really close to the shore, and I place my dock, or actually this one right here, and I place my dock in range of that. Now this is really nice because your fishing ships will only have to travel back and forth this very short distance, whereas if I had built my dock here, and, you know, I'm going for this deep sea fish that's a lot further distance, or if I, you know, what if I don't notice this one and I'm going out here or something. So it is really important. It gives you a good advantage, but it's not, you know, it's not game changing. Don't worry about it too much. Like I said, a lot of the times you're going to find, like in lower leagues, that you'll go water and your opponent just didn't go water at all. And that really is a free win. So we'll talk about why that's a free one in a bit. Yeah, I'm building the dock. My new villagers are going to food to make sure I can make new, to keep making villagers. So we're going to go up to 4 on food. We're going to drop our lumber camp soon as well. But I am going to build a fishing, so you want to be building the fishing boats first. So first I'll build a fishing boat, or make sure I have enough wood for a fishing boat before I drop the lumber camp. And you can see I do have enough wood for the first fishing boat as well. And there comes the first fishing boat. Now, English, this is one of the civ bonuses of English. English gets to pay 67 wood for their fishing boats. So, yeah. And this game is just against an AI, so this is just to really show you the build. So now I have 4 villagers on the sheep, and I'm making fishing boats for more food. And I'm going to go up to 8 on wood now. 8 villagers on wood. I'll change this up here so you can see my villager allocation at the top. So I have 5 villagers on food because that includes this villager gathering from the shorefish. So we're going to go up to 8 on wood. Let's forward a tiny bit here. And you want to just be constantly producing fishing boats in the Dark Age. Constantly, constantly, constantly. And once we get to 8 on wood, we will start queuing our new villagers to gold. Alright, so we got our 8 on wood. And we'll go to gold. Still just making fishing ships, constantly making fishing ships. Alright, so real quick, let's talk about what happens, you know, because in lower leagues, like I said, you're oftentimes going to play, you'll load up Boulder Bay, you'll go onto the water, and you'll notice your opponent didn't go at all. So there is a brief window where your opponent might rush out units on land and do some damage. So let's talk about what you should be doing if at this point in the game your scout should have scouted already. So you need to run your scout over here and see if your opponent went for water or not. If your opponent went for water, we'll just keep playing like a normal game, like you're going to fight on the water, which I'll talk about in a second. But if you notice your opponent didn't go for water, at this point you can take a deep breath and be like, okay, I'm about to win this game. All I need to do is make sure I don't die to the first couple units that come out from my opponent, because they will hit feudal age before you if they don't go for a dock, and they might get a few land units out before you. But it really is easy to deal with, especially if you're a civ like the English. Most of your gathering is going to be in range of this. God, if you're the Rus with the Kremlin, you barely have to worry about land units at all. If you're China, you could drop a Barbican. But you could also just make your own land units to, as soon as you hit feudal age, you can just go ahead and start making units to counter your opponent's units, and you'll actually just be able to easily outproduce them within a few minutes. As long as you keep up constant production and you get enough military buildings down, you'll be able to outproduce them if you have the water and they don't. Because the gather rates on these deep water fish are absolutely insane, guys. Like, you cannot not go water. Like, I cannot stress this enough. Don't play the water maps if you're not going to go water. Downvote them, you know? Water maps are all about winning the water. The gather rates on these deep sea fish will give you such an absurd advantage that even if your opponent goes straight into military right away, you'll be able to hit feudal age, and even with a delayed military, you'll be able to keep up with their production. And you could even drop a wall too if you're, you know... If you see, hey, they didn't go for a dock, they might rush me right away, you could even drop a wall if you really want to. I wouldn't bother with a wall, but you could. So, yeah, we're working on feudal age at this point. So we're going to go up to 5 villagers on gold. That's what I generally like to do. And this is a good time to point out, guys, I'm not a pro, but this build will get you very far in water and on water maps. Like, I win games at Diamond and Conquer level using this build. So, you know, I am not a pro though. This probably isn't the perfect build. If you want the perfect build, go watch a game on Beastie Cutie playing on Boulder Bay or something and try to copy his build. And that is how I originally learned to play the water, by the way. It's just watching the pros, because there's not any good water guides on YouTube. Which is what we're trying to fix. Alright, the second we have 200 gold. You can see we have plenty of food for the age up just from our fishing ships. Now, I'm going to pause for a second. I've got 6 fishing ships at this point. I'm queuing another one. And I'm constantly producing fishing ships, and I'm also able to drop a second dock as I age up because of the 8 on wood. So that's really important. You don't want to stop producing fishing ships for your second dock. You want to keep producing fishing ships as you drop the second dock. Why are we dropping a second dock? Because, you know, we want to win the water. We're assuming, I'm playing against an AI, but we're assuming that you're going to have to fight over the water at this point. So you're going to want multiple docks. That way you can keep producing fishing ships while you produce military, or if you need to produce military out of 2 docks, you've got it. So, always want a second dock. I'm going to take all of the food villagers that I had on sheep here and use them to build this landmark. You can even pull a few of the wood villagers here if you really want to rush the age up. But it's not necessary to rush the age up in this case. Now, if you're the first to hit feudal age, the second that you hit feudal age, you do want to have enough wood to go ahead and pump out a military ship. And I messed that up in this build. I accidentally built one too many fishing ships. So my first military ship is delayed a tiny bit. And yeah, this AI is going for docks super late. Doesn't really make any sense, but it's an AI. So I think I just made like one or two too many fishing ships here. I should have saved some wood for my first military ship, but that's okay. As you age up, you can grab forestry. You're also going to want double broadaxe as soon as we hit feudal age. These wood upgrades are really important because, you know, the whole focus of your land eco is to gather wood to fuel your water eco and your water military. So yeah, you can see I did not queue a military ship right away, so that was not the best. You want to have the wood to queue a military ship right away. But there comes my first galley, so... Or... Nope, yeah, my first galley coming out of this dock. And let's talk about what ships you want to open with. Yeah, now we'll get into water combat, I guess. So... I think a pretty good opening is to go for an archery ship and immediately just start harassing their fishing boats. And behind it, you want to go for a demo ship. Because there's a triangle on water, just like there is on land. So archery ships counter demo ships, springled ships counter archery ships, demo ships counter springled ships. So I'm opening archery ship with the demo because I'm assuming the opponent will go for a springled to counter my first archery ship, and I'll already have a demo to destroy the springled if it comes to that. But yeah, it's an AI, so we're not going to have a big water fight here. You could watch, if you want to see some games where I have some water fights, you know, there's plenty of that on YouTube, and you could also watch better players than me, you know, go watch the Muslim's channel, or go watch Beastie's channel, find a game where they're on the water map. You can even use a Twitch video service to find them, Twitch Video Finder on AoE4world.com to find specific games on specific maps if you want to watch some crazy naval battles. But yeah, so the basics is just that you really just want to make sure you have the appropriate counters to your unit's ships. So yeah, I like to lead with an archery ship, and you just start harassing their fishing ships because that will hurt their food income. It will hurt their ability to produce fishing ships as much. It does cost a little bit of food for ships. Not for fishing ships, but for military ships, it costs food, wood, and gold. So, for Hulk cost gold, demos cost gold, and galleys are just food and wood. So, yeah, you want to just start massing military on the water and take this water for yourself as soon as possible. So, let's talk about exactly how to do that. Let's talk about demo ships. Demo ships are not a comp you want to go for. You don't just want to start making a bunch of demo ships. You really want to go heavy into the archery and springled ships. The demo ships are good in specific situations, but they're really expensive and you don't want to waste them. So don't make too many of them. Don't just like, you can't lead with demo ships, right? So, and see, I've got a springled ship coming out now. Now they've got the archery ship and the demo ship. And we're just gonna harass. Now, there's no good water fight here, so there's not much more to show you on the water, because the AI, I don't even know, like, it takes them forever to make a military ship, if they ever even do make a military ship. But, yeah, I'm just gonna go into, you know, quite a few military ships here just to show you guys a couple things. So, there's plenty to talk about. So, you can constantly be, like, harassing with your military ships. But, yeah, more than likely, if you're playing against a good opponent who knows how to play on the water, they're going to be making ships as well. So there's lots of mechanics you can use to get an advantage when you are fighting on the water. So let's talk about some of those. First of all, if your military ship gets to low health, let's say that this galley's attacking down here and a sprinkled ship comes out and does a good bit of damage to it, pull it back, guys. You don't want to lose your ships. They're very expensive. And you can pull the ship and park it right next to the dock, and it will actually heal all the way. So your military ships heal when they're sitting next to docks. And then another thing that's also really important is your fishing boats can heal your military ships. So you can do that in the middle of a fight even. Like if you're taking a big fight, you're retreating back to your base, you can pull a couple fishing ships, click on your low health military ship, and it will heal it. And then you can shift queue your fishing boats to go back to fishing when they're done healing. So that kind of thing is really, really big and can make a big difference in water fights. There's also lots of upgrades to be going for here. So the English have an upgrade called Admiralty, which increases the range of combat ships by 1. This upgrade is expensive, but if you are good with micro on the water, it will change the game completely. You'll be able to just micro your ships backward and constantly shoot while your opponent can't shoot because of the extra range that those ships have. For the English, guys, I forget about this upgrade like half the time I play on water and I still win. So, you know, this kind of thing really doesn't matter unless you're at the highest level of the game, but it can give you a good advantage. So I definitely wanted to mention it. At some point in Feudal Age, you do want to be grabbing this Drift Nets upgrade. This increases the gathering rate of fishing ships by 15%, carry capacity by 20%, move speed by 10%. It's insane. It's going to really boost your fishing eco. So, what else do we want to talk about on water? There's not much else to talk about. So at this point, let's just assume that I had a big fight and I won the water. For the most part, like, I killed all his military ships. There never were any military ships, but let's pretend I killed all his military ships. Well, what do you do from here? How do you get your opponent fully off the water? Well, you can just use your ships to attack the docks, but your opponent can also go for emplacements on their docks, arrow slits, naval arrow slits. These naval arrow slits are not going to attack land units. So if I have naval arrow slits on the dock, it's not going to attack the scout that runs by. It's only going to attack ships that come within range of my dock. So oftentimes this will happen if you completely destroy your opponent's military. They'll go for naval arrow slits and they'll try to keep fishing near their docks. Do not let your ships die to those naval arrow slits, guys. If you're like attacking the dock with 2 sprinkled ships and you notice, holy crap, there's a bunch of arrows coming out of this dock, just pull back. And what you want to do at that point is just mass a few more ships so that you can take care of the dock. It is important to note that I think it actually takes 4 demo ships to completely just destroy a dock. I'll normally go for like 3 demo ships and then explode it on the dock and then attack the dock with sprinkleds as well to get rid of it. But if you want to fully just take out a dock in one go, it is going to take 4 demo ships. And that actually does cost a lot more than the dock costs. So, yeah, it's something you go for when you're really far ahead just to get your opponent fully off the water. But don't go for this too early because the demo ships are really, really expensive. So now I'm gonna be slowly getting getting rid of my opponent's docks. But at this point, I have a huge fishing eco and my opponent doesn't. So the advantage is there for me. So how do you use this advantage? Now that we've taken the water, how do we use this advantage to win? Actually, guys, before we talk about that, I will talk about one more thing that you can do. If you are having big fights and you have the APM for it, if you're having big fights on the water, you're going back and forth, the other thing you can do, especially with like the English or the HRE, you can take a villager down here and drop a proxy barracks, and then just queue your men-at-arms to walk into the wood line here. And that will stop your opponent from gathering wood, and all of a sudden, they won't be able to produce as many military ships, and you might take military prowess really quickly at that point. And then you'll be able to win the water. Alright, so once you've won the water, how do you use that to win? Well, you need to know what your opponent's doing. If they're massing units, land units, and feudal, you might need to make a few units to defend. But honestly, once you win the water, most of the time you can just go straight to Castle Age. And you don't want to wait too long, guys. Like, this economy is insane. You don't want to go for a long game at this point. You want to go kill your opponent. Because any time that you give them is time for them to make additional town centers and try to get back into the game, right? Because eventually, like in late game, it won't matter. Like, if your opponent's on 3 TCs and we're 35 minutes into the game and you have the land eco, you guys might be relatively even. But if you use the water eco right away to win the game, you'll just win every time. So how am I going to do that? What I usually like to do is go up to Castle Age, and as I go up to Castle Age, just drop a bunch of stables, mass produce knights, and just go kill all their villagers. And I mean, even if they're making spearmen at most of the time, you're going to have so many knights that you'll just kill their spears. But yeah, if your opponent does have a lot of spearmen, you could drop a bunch of barracks instead of stables, go for mass men-at-arms. You just need to go kill all their villagers and idle all their eco, and then you can go for a keep drop, you can go for a siege push, whatever you want to do, right? This is another nice thing about English, is that English, as they go to Castle Age, will be able to drop their own second town center. So not only do you have all of this this water eco, but you also will be getting a second town center as you age up. It's really good. But yeah, I'm just gonna go into mass knights. You see how many, like, look at all the stables I can afford, guys. We're 11 minutes into the game and I'm about to have 6 stables. I'll be able to constantly produce out of these. I'm just queuing tons of villagers to gold to make sure I have enough gold for my knights. Look at my food right now. I have 2,300 food just from fishing economy, and that's after I've already aged up. I mean, the food, guys, I cannot stress to you how important it is to go water on these maps, man. Like, that, it is game changing. Look at my food, look at my economy, man. 2,400 food. I could just go straight to Imperial, and you could do that if you want to. Your opponent might even GG if you go straight to Imperial. But I think it's better to just start putting a ton of pressure on them right away. So, it is an AI, so we don't really need to watch much more of this game from here. I'm just going to see and try and think about if there's anything else I missed that we need to talk about with the water. But, you know, honestly, I think that's it. I do have a little template right here. Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about shore fish versus deep sea fish. So if you win the water and your opponent is still, like, they still have a dock, they've got arrow split emplacements, and they're gathering from the shoreline fish, well, guys, the shoreline fish does not have nearly as good gather rates as the deep sea, so you will still have an advantage if you are taking the deep sea fish and your opponent is taking the shoreline fish. What else can we talk about? Upgrades. I already talked about upgrades within the dock. But guys, it is important to note that these upgrades, like Iron Undermesh and Steeled Arrow, these upgrades actually affect your military boats as well. So these can make a big difference. If you're having like a stalemate fight on the water, you could get these upgrades, and that could make a big difference for you. And yeah, I think that's about it, guys. You just need to, like I said, once you win the water, you just need to go Castle Age, flood units, destroy your opponent. It should be really easy. They just won't be able to keep up with your production. They won't have 1,800 food in the bank, and that's after I've spent 600, however much, on knights. They're not going to have the resources you have. If you win the water, you should win the game, basically every time. And if you do win the water and you still lose the game, and you're not sure what happened, come by my stream. I'll watch the VOD. I'll help you sort it out. But you really should just win at this point. So, yeah, you could even grab the relics. You could do whatever you want to do. But yeah, you can go burn their docks with the knights as well, so they completely get rid of their water presence. But yeah, I mean, just flood their base. There's not much more to it. Once you win the water, flood their base, win the game. Guys, if you have any questions about playing on water maps or hybrid maps, drop those questions in the comment below. I didn't really get into hybrid maps today, but if you want to learn about how to play on hybrid maps with early aggression, like English men-at-arms or Ottoman spears right away, you're gonna need to watch some high-level games from pros and see how they do that. because I won't be getting into that today. If enough of you want it, I could make a guide on that in the future. But yeah, that's about it. That's my guide for water maps, guys. This is going to work on pretty much all the water maps you want to go for this kind of opening. Even on a hybrid map, most of the time you want to go for this kind of dock opening, unless you're going for one of those early aggressive builds I was talking about. And you can even trade on the water and get absurd resources sometimes once you've won the water. I did end up making a few trade ships this game, and they weren't the best. They were only getting me like 39 wood, 39 gold. But on some maps, they'll be a lot better than others. So yeah, there's just so many things you can do once you win the water, and the game is yours to lose. You should never lose the game once you win the water. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope that covers everything. But if, like I said, if you have more questions, drop them in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what kind of guide you want to see next. And thanks for watching.